Hello guys and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Pegasus Bridge, and in this one I'm going to be playing with the 716th Infantry Division. Once again, I mean it's been a while since I played the 716th, so decided to give them a go, and it's nice that I am actually going to be playing with Haymaker, who's going to be using the 12th SS Panzer, and we have Zero Crack on our team as well, who's going to be using the 16th Luftwaffe. Now somebody asked if I could play the 716th with the 16th Luftwaffe. I'll try and make that happen in the future where there's like a sort of co-op thing going on between two players. But in this one, it's separate. 716th, I'm going to be on the left side, and the 16th Luftwaffe is going to be on the right side with Haymaker in the middle with the 12th SS. Makes sense since he has the Firefly and so on. Now on our opposing side, we have Jagdsource with the 3rd Canadian Infantry, Cherry Bomb with the 15th Infantry, and Nicholas D with the 1st SSB. But we're going to stick it to my point of view, and we're going to talk about unit placement at the start of the game. So there was just a few things to really look at on this side. It's an interesting side to fight over. I actually really hate this section of the map on Pegasus Bridge. It's the most annoying and obnoxious place to play because of the line of sight. And it can be rather frustrating because if you want to push through this tree line, you've got like tree lines on both sides that have like perfect line of sight into that tree line, so any infantry in there generally just gets wrecked, and yeah, it's just not great. But either way, all I need to do is really pressure up to this halfway point here. I mean the halfway is here, but what I mean is if I can get infantry into this building, I'm always going to be pushing over 50%, which is really good. Same on this left side. If I can get stuff into this tree line, it's more likely that I'm going to be pushing the 50% than they are. They need to be right up against it in order to do so. So quite likely they're going to lose ground otherwise. So the main things to think about is where I'm going to put like AT guns, IG-18s, things like that. So AT guns, I was going to put one here. This is a great position for like a Pack 40. You can get the really good value for money out of the 1,200 meter range, especially all the way up to this sort of tree line here. If anything comes around, you can get it sniped from a long distance. The only issue with having a Pack 40 here is it's quite vulnerable to being spotted, and therefore mortar fire might get it. Other sort of longer range guns might spot it and kill it off, like the priests, for example. Might be able to get the 1,200 meter range, like stunning shots onto the Pack 40 quite easily. So there's all that sort of stuff to worry about. But basically what I'm going to be doing is spreading out some recon with a couple of AT guns over here. Got the Pack 40 there, like I said. I'm going to have another pack just sort of hidden a little bit further back in this tree line, so that if anything comes up, I can sort of roll it forwards and try and snipe the units. So yeah, we'll be waiting to see if that works out. But over on this right side, it's just going to be Ostropen with some command infantry, IG-18, Pack 37. Pack 37 to cover the road here, IG-18 to sort of cover the tree lines, and hopefully we'll be able to make ground into these buildings, and from there be able to maybe put some pressure on. But it's pretty hard to put a lot of pressure on with the 716th. But we'll see how it goes. In the mid, we are going to be seeing Haymaker start with the Boiter Cromwell. I'm not entirely sure if he started with the Boiter Firefly. I don't think he did. He relied more on the AT guns at the start in the centre, just to stop the opponents from pushing so hard. And on the right side, we're actually going to see Zero Crack start with double Flak 88, which is something that I love to see. We'll have to see if he can make it work throughout the game. So let's speed things up, and we'll get the game underway. And I will show you my unit positioning more specifically. It was a pretty long deployment, since I believe we were waiting for our opponents to get their units down. And I'm not really one to worry about waiting. Some people are very impatient in this game, especially after, I mean, like if you're waiting in the lobby for a long time, I can understand it. But I mean, at the moment, since the DLC came out, I think the population of Steel Division is a bit more healthy than it was. And that's quite nice. It means that you get games relatively quickly, especially in the evening. So yeah, you can see the timer there continuing to count up as we were waiting for the game to actually start. But this is just Osttroopen. I actually have a couple of mortars at the start, which isn't something that I would usually do with the 716th. I've got a mortar for the right side. I've actually got a mortar for the left side here as well. The reason for that is because they have 700 meter range, which isn't a lot, but it's just enough to like put the pressure just over this tree line, which is again what I was talking about. Same here, like this building, if I can get this building, would be great. But depending on who I'm up against, I could have a pretty hard time. Because if it's the 1st SSB, then they'll have a lot of elite infantry I have to worry about. And if it's the 3rd Canadian, again, stormtroopers. 15th infantry may be the easiest to deal with, other than the fact that I'm 716th and I don't have much decent AT at the start. So they could roll through me with something like an AVR raid. So there's a lot of things to think about and a lot of different things that could put the pressure on. But here we're going to be seeing a Lynx push through early on, and that's actually going to get the shots onto the Kubel here before it unloads into the building. I'm actually going to lose that and the command infantry unit inside, so that was a bit silly. But Pack 37 is going to be dropped off and gets on target to the Lynx and is going to get the shot. Osttroopen unloading onto what looks to be some stormtroopers, and the Fusiliers moving up there as well just to try and get into the building as soon as possible. I don't want enemy infantry to be on this side of that forest if I can help it. Now there is some sniper scouts starting to hit these Osttroopen, but I'm going to let the Bedford be shot there by the Pack 40, and we managed to get a quick kill at the start, which is rather nice. AT gun reveals itself by shooting at the 251, and that's going to get hammered by the machine gun of the Fusilier and the rifles of the Osttroopen. The Recce squad here going to be charged by the Osttroopen, and I'm going to get into that building and try and take those out early on. Mortars are starting to fire away, and I'm going to try and pin down as much of this infantry as I can, although just trying to go for the quick kill there onto the 6-pounder. So the Recce do get killed, but the Osttroopen go down as well. Sitting in the face of rifle squads and MGs like that isn't ever really a great idea. IG-18's got line of sight onto the rifles on the right though, because HMG goes down in the centre there as it was pinning down my Osttroopen. Sniper Scouts have been dealing with the Osttroopen, but the idea was to let the Sniper Scouts continue to fire at the Osttroopen so that I could allow the Pack 40 to fire at the Sniper Scouts. But the Pack 40 obviously killed the Vickers HMG quick first, and I probably should have focused the snipers instead. So a little bit of a mistake there, but either way, I did trade quite well, killing the Bedford truck with the infantry in and the Vickers HMG there. So not too bad for the Pack 40. One of my Pack 37s does go down unfortunately due to enemy fire after they got pinned down by the enemy artillery coming in. But that's okay, still got the IG-18 there, still got my mortars to fire away. Fusiliers are going to move into the building there, and they're going to start to engage these units in the forest as well. So just going to keep them in that building. Brought up a new unit of Grenadier just to give the extra veterancy and stop these Fusiliers from being surrendered. The other thing I'm doing is pushing through my Fusiliers slowly into these trees. I'm just trying to keep over the 50-50 on my side. So currently, they're contesting this rather well because these rifles are providing presence. My Fusiliers are not. Unfortunately here, my 50mm mortar goes a bit off target and actually pins down my own Fusiliers. But yeah, ideally, I would have had like the Osttroopen stay here and that would continue to push them over the 50-50. But I have plenty of reinforcements on the way. Great thing about the 716th is with the 100 income that you gain access to, that's 5 squads of Osttroopen per minute, which is quite a lot of infantry that you can definitely put the pressure on with early on. However, with the way they've set up at the moment, especially with these Sniper Scouts, it's not too much I can do. Just gotta be a bit careful that I don't get hit by any stormtroopers coming through these tree lines. One of my Osttroopen does go down to an enemy AT gun that I didn't realise was there, so I just unload my other Osttroopen early, and I'm just going to run them forwards towards those Sniper Scouts again. We'll try and do the job. I might be able to get my 50mm mortar on target as well, if that's the case. The IG-18 managed to keep that alive, going to pull that back since it was continuously fired upon, and I'm going to start to move to the right. Now for the entire time, Haymaker was supporting me slightly on this left side, as he wasn't really doing too much in the middle for the majority of the game, and he was also holding on the right side. So Haymaker was spread out quite thin, honestly, from my side all the way over to Zero Crack's side of things. But Zero Crack doing a fantastic job with his flak 88s at the moment. He's definitely got some pretty decent kills. He's also managed to kill off, for example, this Cromwell in the town with the Luftwaffe as well. So really doing well on that side. Haymaker's mortars coming in handy here. My own mortars still fighting and hopefully doing the job. Osttruppen getting onto that 6-pounder. Pack 40 comes in with the kill shot. And there is a unit of stormtroopers in here that killed off a couple of units of mine earlier. So just going to be trying to go for the engagement there. And if the Osttruppen can kill off the stormtroopers, I think that's worth it in my opinion. It almost killed off those Osttruppen, but I managed to get the kill just before my other unit gets pinned down by artillery fire. We're pushing forwards the front line now, over 50-50 on my side, and over on the far right, Zero Cracks made a lovely salient on the far right with his Luftwaffe there. This 5K88 getting the line of sight down the road is going to be very, very deadly. Takes out 2 Staghounds by the looks of things. Actually, those are the Staghound AAs, I think. Yeah, both going down. Really, really nice kills for Zero Crack on that side. So now I'm going to be bringing up the B2s. I've got more recon on the way. Got more infantry on the way. These Osttruppen in the open are being absolutely wrecked. Over on the left side, Osttruppen being engaged by rifles, but I do have the MG34 purposefully back in this tree line just to pin down any infantry that comes in here, because it's got the perfect line of sight to shoot at anything that is. So yeah, Osttruppen there with that engagement. MG34 is going to be pinning them down. That's going to allow me to charge them down with the Osttruppen. As soon as those rifles get pinned down, they're going to surrender because there's no command nearby. So managed to clean that up nicely. Another one of my vehicles goes down there, unfortunately losing a unit of Fusiliers, I think. But the B2s should be good enough to take out the 6-pounders. So going to be hammering this 6-pounder in the tree line there. Also got the B2 on the right side helping out with the rifles. Not doing too bad, managing to keep the Pack 40 alive after it comes under fire once again. But a few mistakes so far. Obviously losing infantry for free is never a good idea. I've currently lost I think 60 points for free before I've even unloaded them. So yeah, that's not ideal at all. But either way, mortars and the B2 both focusing on that 6-pounder. Typhoon is going to be coming in with the bombs to take out my mortar, since they only have 3 health. Well, there's not too much I can do about that. But we did take out these stormtroopers in this forest area, and that's allowing my Osttruppen now to move up and take that building, provide more pressure. Again, still pushing over the 50-50 here, just about, which is nice, and is providing pressure onto the opponents. But the main extra couple percent is coming from this right side, where Zero Crack definitely making a dent. Haymaker is also pushing through with his 251, as his 259 start to pin down the honey. The good stuff so far, not too bad. Like I said, there was mistakes, and as you can see there is some units coming in on the left side here that I'm going to have to deal with. So what I actually do is decide to bring up another MG34, so that if anything comes into this tree line I can just double spray them with the MG34s and should pin them down very quickly. And no vehicles can really get past this tree line without coming all the way round. So there's also that I can use to my advantage. I've got the B2 there. That's going to be trying to take out this 6-pounder. The 222 goes down in one shot. And I get the Grenadier here to give it the extra veterancy so that I can get that kill. But the 6-pounder is also going to one-shot my B2. And I lose that, unfortunately. Ideally, I would have had recon to spot that. But my recon Fusiliers being killed earlier was not ideal. And I do have some reinforcing recon on the way, but it's not there quite in time. So didn't work out very well. And these Osttruppen trying to do a runner from some stormtroopers once again. But the stormtroopers are going to be catching up and killing them off. So once all the stormtroopers are dealt with, I should have a decent time on this left side pushing through. But before then, like, those stormtroopers are just going to tear apart my units of Osttruppen very, very easily. Now over on this side, I was kind of facing 2 players. Jagdsource and Cherry Bomb were both here, but thankfully obviously Haymaker is moving up as well. Haymaker's going to be trying to get the engagement down the road there with the Firefly. Also the Boyd's Cromwell trying to pick off the 6-pounder, I believe, but a 6-pounder in this tree line comes off return fire and annihilates the Firefly in one shot. Almost gets the kill onto the Boyd's Firefly as well, and that wasn't ideal for Haymaker at this part of the game. Still, we do have a lot of pressure, over 50-50 in the mid. On the right side, still a lot of pressure going on from Zero Crack, and he was getting a lot of kills. He was using his artillery especially effectively to counter the enemy mortars here, although ideally these artillery would have been a bit more spread out to avoid bombers coming in and hitting all of them at once. So I've got the Aufklärer moving up. You can see here the Storm Pioneers getting close range to my Osttroop and absolutely deleting them. I get the MG34s both on target, but it's too late. The Osttroop just died too quickly, and he's trying to do the same here, get within 100 meter range of my Osttroop, but I'm not going to let that happen twice. Another one of my Osttroop goes down as they come up to reinforce. Continual mistakes, really, on this road. It's very crazy to see that 6-pounder got so many kills just because I was a little bit lazy with my troop management on that road. And imagine what I could have done with like an extra 2 squads of Osttroop and a unit of Fusiliers. It would have been really nice to put the pressure on across this open field as well, but at this point it doesn't really matter. The only thing I'm really worried about is the attack from these rifles through this part of the tree line. Like, it's all very well having 2 MG34 squads sitting here and covering both sides, but it can't actually cover where the Pak-37 is. But like I was saying earlier, Pak-37's here. It was actually further back, so it didn't have line of sight. And I'm rolling it forwards now to get line of sight onto this enemy command carrier. So going to be trying to go for that kill. The 3-star command carrier, though, very, very potent, and it is going to hit it very hard very quickly and takes it out. So Pak-37 missing that first shot was not ideal. Preferably would have had some command infantry there, but I'd used up all my command infantry already in phase A. I guess I could have brought some more in phase B. Now I'm going to be relying on these Wurfrahmen. So these Wurfrahmen, they're not the most accurate rocket artillery, but they can still do a lot of damage if they hit the mark. So there we're going to be forcing back 3 units of rifles. Rifle leader at the back. I'm also going to be bringing in a recon squad to the left side with the B2 because I don't want any of these infantry to push through into this field. And what I can do is have this B2 just sit here. It's not under threat of like any sort of AT gun or enemy tank or anything. It can just sit there and mow down infantry because I'll have the recon to sit close enough to the edge of the trees that if anything rolls into there, I can just hit it very quickly, especially with the MGs pinning them down. So yeah, not too much of a risk in bringing that B2 over to the left side and helps defend that flank. Bomber going to be coming in the form of the Mosquito. Is going to be killing off a Fusilier squad and does quite a lot of damage to my infantry, but the B2 should sort itself out and be able to deal with these 2 Bedfords rushing towards me. Now these Bedfords, they drop off 2 units of rifles, and these Osttroop are pinned down, but luckily because they're next to the Fusiliers, they're not going to be surrendering straight away. But as soon as those Fusiliers get pinned down and they're not in range of the Grenfuhrer, they're going to surrender. These Osttroop, however, shouldn't, as they are in range, but they will just get killed off instead. So a lot of pressure put on there by Jagdsource at this point. Haymaker's going to be replying with the Panzerwerfer though, and I have a second Wurfrahmen arriving to provide the pain as well. Also have 2 Opel Blitz munitions coming up to help with the Wurframens, and the idea of what I was going to do throughout this game was rely on the Wurframens to basically punch holes and then push forwards with infantry and so on. But in this case, accidentally, one rocket goes astray and kills off my command infantry, which wasn't ideal. Like I said, they're very inaccurate. You don't get like a general idea of where the rockets are going to land because they just don't have that circle that tells you. And in the middle we are losing a little bit of ground since most of Haymaker's AT guns had died by this point, thanks to Cherry Bombs, Churchill 5s. But over on this right side, pressure's starting to mount as Zero Crack is getting plenty of kills. He's also bringing up this BO Storch now to be able to provide some off-map. They're just going to be waiting to push forwards. Finding a nice spot to put that off map will give him plenty of pressure, and bringing up these AT guns will also do the same. There's a lot of armoured vehicles here, so getting AT guns right up to the front line with all this infantry is a really good idea. Over on the left side, things are pretty static at the moment. So I lost too many units for free so far. What I'm going to be doing now is bringing up some FK 18s to assist with my Wurfrahmen in punching through the defences. Great thing about these Wurfrahmen as well is I can also use them to take out these AT guns that are getting in my way. I can use them to take out these Priest Double Ds, which are also pretty hard to deal with. Because they're open top though, they are very vulnerable to flames, and Wurfrahmen leave plenty of those hanging about. So Pioneer Fjeller here, going to be accompanying some of the Italian infantry as they charge on forwards. They are going to be hit by enemy artillery though. And we can see there the priest on the road is actually going to get line of sight down here as well. So kind of sucked, but FK-18's nearly here. Going to be letting this Wurfrahmen fire away to try and take out the 6-pounder, and that's going to be job done there. Like I said, if they hit the mark, they do the job, and that infantry squad moving in the open also got hit very hard there. Now Haymaker bringing up some Panzer Grenadiers to give us a hand, bringing up some infantry to the mid to help push back the salient there. We're still pushing a +1 at this point, 51% territory lead. Across the board, I think we're just slightly over the halfway line, so that's the main contributor. And we're not far off like the 52%, for example, but that bomber there, Mosquito, comes in to bomb the Panzer Grenadiers, kills off the IG-18 as well. That IG-18 survived a lot longer than it probably should have anyway, so I wasn't too worried about that. But this is LEFH 1419, I believe I called it an IG-18, but yeah, LEFH, actually the artillery of choice. Going to be firing that at the priest to just make it back off for now. And you may as well like harass any target you see with artillery, because there's multiple uses for artillery. A lot of people neglect the fact that you can actually use like mortars, for example, to hit tanks, not to destroy them, but to cause morale damage, and that makes them less accurate, in which case you can then engage them with your own tanks, and that's a very easy way to win those engagements. So that's forced him to move the priest over to the left a little more. Then what I'm going to be doing is just sort of pounding this sort of forest area alongside my Wurfrahmen. And what you'll see me doing is after every barrage of rockets, I'm actually moving my Wurfrahmen with their supply trucks to a different location so that they can't use their bombers to destroy them, because these Wurfrahmen with only 2 armor are actually pretty squishy against enemy bombers. So there's my Italian infantry that got pinned down earlier by the enemy artillery and the priests. They're waiting for orders to move up again. And over on this right side, Zero Cracks moved up with some Panzerschrecks, has taken care of the 2 M4 Shermans that were behind these houses, and has made a lot of ground now. 53% in our favour and counting, as he is really letting the pressure mount here, and it's pretty much coming to breaking point. Commando leader jumps into the line of a Panzerschreck there, Panzerschreck squad. The Panzerschreck squad is going to kill them off very quickly. This Commando leader though does have the grenade, and that's going to kill off the other Panzerschreck there. This Jaeger though takes out the Staghound on the right side with a bailout, and those Commando Royal Marines being pinned down as well by the Focke-Wulf 190s. Here goes the Wurfrahmen again. Going to be destroying the command carrier. Also going to be hitting the rifles pretty hard there, giving them plenty of flames to fall back through. And this is quite simply to stop the attack into this sort of T shape where the tree line meets. Because if they get into there, then these MG34s aren't going to be as effective at all. Right, with the 6-pounder taken out, I can pretty freely move forwards this B2, so that's what I'm doing, accompanied by these Osttruppen. However, Typhoon going to be coming in here. Nice choice of unit to bomb out the Osttruppen. They take out my Aufklärer as well, which was the only unit that was hidden out of the 3. So that was rather unfortunate. Removes my recon, makes me a little bit more vulnerable to the AT guns, and the second one coming in there, actually forcing my B2 back entirely. There goes the Panzerwerfer once again from Haymaker, and we were using a lot of rockets throughout this game. I was just continuously moving the Wurframmen to a different location. You can see pretty much every time you see them, they'll be in a different spot, and just quite simply to stop them being hit themselves. And LFHs though, they can stay where they are. I've got them both in separate locations. Currently this one trying to go for the kill onto an AT gun in the mid. So yeah, Churchill's a little bit of an issue in the mid at the moment, as it is pushing through quite heavily. However, moving into phase C, we will have access to Panthers for Haymaker, and I have 88s as well, so that should help us deal with the Churchills quite nicely. But on this left side, again, recon being taken out there. It's quite important for them to do that just so that they can sneak AT guns into the tree line and take out the B2 quite easily, because as long as that B2 is there, no infantry is coming into the edge of that tree line. I've also got some off-map on the way now. As you can see, I've got Flak 88s on the way up, and basically it's time for us to start really solidifying our anti-air on the left side, so that's what we were going to go for now. We've also got to solidify the mid. B2 goes down on this side as a Wolverine and a 6-pounder come up to challenge that, and I'm going to be going with for the shots with the Wurfrahmen there. Again, Wolverine open top, vulnerable to flames. Going to be trying to go for that flame kill. On this right side, however, you can see Zero Crack has broken all the way through, doing an exceptional job there. Got a lovely amount of AA as well. Flak 88s, Flak Zwillings. It's also got the Flak Panzer Brens. No planes are going to be coming over to stop that, and all the while he can continue to move forwards his infantry, and it's working rather quite well at the moment. On this left side, I'm also starting to break through a little. Stormtroopers getting hit by enemy rocket, or by my rockets there, and Osttruppen trying to kill them off. Also the 6-pounder on this left side gets killed off, along with the M10 being forced to fall back. So just making a lot of ground now thanks to the artillery. I've also got the off-map coming in as well, and this was probably one of the games that I've spent the most on artillery on for a while, but definitely started to help me punch through as I continued in this game. It's a Spitfire Mark 9 coming in. That's going for the bombing strike onto Haymaker's Pioneers. I think it was also trying to hit my LEFH 1419. Yeah, more 88s are on the way now. This is a Flak Villing as well, so a couple Flak 88s in the Flak Villing should be enough to really start doing some damage to the enemy planes that are being used, especially Spitfires and Typhoons and so on, as they don't have particularly high resilience. Yeah, just a bunch of infantry here. Osttruppen trying to take on the rifles in the open. Those Osttruppen on the left side getting wrecked. 2 3-inch mortars have been brought up by Jagdsource at this point, but with the amount of rockets that we have on hand, we can probably take those out pretty easily. But I am going to be firing this Wurfrahmen to the left side to target that infantry and sort of free up these Osttruppen and so on. I managed to kill off that 1-man unit of Stormtroopers. And I think that was the last we saw of Stormtroopers for this game. Spitfire Mark 9 coming in there with the bombs onto the Panzerwerfer as the Panzerwerfer fires away towards the 3-inch mortars. And the Spitfire coming in again, going for the kill onto the LAFH. And they are going to get it this time. So not bad there from Haymaker. Does quite a lot of damage to the mortars all the way at the back. And again, Wurfrahmen changing positions. Kuba was being hit by the enemy bombers as well, by accident, but here what's going to happen is I'm just going to start to move that forwards, find some nice positions, and then move on them with these Osttruppen and Italian infantry that I have. So yeah, just kind of bringing up more infantry, but before I do that, solidify my AA net. Then I can push forwards without being harassed by all of these mosquitoes and so on, which is kind of the main worry at this point. On this right side, however, again, zero crack, pushing all the way through, really making a lot of ground. Plane coming in, Typhoon, this time around, Black 88s do the job, prevent that from dropping its payload. This mosquito, though, taking a little bit more fire, isn't quite going to be pinned down in time. Drops its bombs onto where the Wurfrahmen was, but the Wurfrahmen's well out of there. This mosquito going for the bombs onto the Flak 88, but only ends up doing one more damage, as it was slightly morale damage before it dropped its bombs, so it was less accurate than it otherwise would have been. But B2 comes through there, gets sniped by the Wolverine. That Wolverine had a really good line of sight onto that road, and I didn't think it quite did, but I didn't check before I rolled through there, and that's my bad. But instead, going to let the Wurfrahmen try and take out the priest instead. Actually, take out the rifle leader, and a rocket direct hit takes out the priest. We're picking up another nice kill. ME109 in the mid, going to be harassing the Willies. MMG to get us some more ground. And we're currently at the +2, 59%. Mainly thanks to Zero Crack on the right side. Doing a really good job against Nicholas D. And yeah, more 88s rolling up. I've got another one on the main road. Typhoon just not having a good time. It's not really want to be flying over like that. And well, this 88 on the left side gonna be sniping it out the sky. And this is really where the AA net starts to come together. Another Spitfire Mark 9 coming in. Going to be going for the bombing strike onto my infantry here. Going to be forced to fall back before it can. And Haymaker's ME109 going to be coming in and finishing it off. So two-star ME109s there, really doing the job. Now my off-map comes in, starts to slam these rifles very hard. And as you can see, it makes us a lot of ground. I was quite glad I brought in this 380mm off map. It didn't actually get many kills in the end, but it definitely did a lot of damage to troops that would otherwise been at full strength. And that allowed my infantry to outmatch them. So I've got more infantry coming in here, as you can see. A couple more Italian infantry, command infantry. Got plenty of flak fillings now as well. 3 flak fillings supported by 3 flak 88s. Haymaker does lose one of his Panzer IVs there to the 17-pounder. But 17-pounder is going to be able to retreat. My 88 takes out their M10. It was nice. I'm trying to get this cue ball forwards so that it can get another decent strike off. All the while, going to continue to push. We got 6 minutes and 50 left on the clock until victory, unless we go for a +3. Bit fire Mark 9 on the right side, just not standing a chance. That's going to go down no problemo. And Zero Crack just solidifying his position on this right side. Flak 88 supported by Luftwaffe Jäger, and he's got plenty of artillery also at the back side. So Wurfrahmen there, going for the kill onto the 17-pounder, going to do the job. 25-pounders at the back side there have been spotted. And that means that we have some targets for our rocket launchers as well. Another Spitfire going to be coming in. Gets hit very hard. Mosquito also coming in. Takes a lot of damage. Those bombs though, going to be taking out my Pioneer Theatre. Off map of mine though comes in. Starts to do a lot of damage to the infantry in this town, and they're actually going to be forced to fall back immediately. So again, just leaving us with more territory as we continue throughout the game. Panzerwerfer comes down on top of the 25 pounders there, and that does a lot of damage. I'm going to be also bringing up my Wurfrahmen to have a go. See if I can finish some of those off. But the Wurfrahmen's so damn inaccurate. Unfortunately, what happens is all of the shots kind of land a bit short. They'll manage to do a little bit of damage, but would have preferred if they were on target and got rid of those 25 pounds entirely. But with us actually hitting the +3, reaching 67% territory, it's now only 2 minutes and 45 seconds until victory. Again, Zero Crack on the right side, making loads of ground with his infantry. Wurfrahmen is going to force the priest to fall back, and this priest is actually going to end up reversing through the fire and flames that the Wurfrahmen left behind, and it isn't going to last too long. And in infantry there do come across some resistance in these two farm buildings, so what I'm going to end up doing is just pulling back the Italian infantry and letting the artillery do the work. There goes the priest as well. Spitfire Mark 9s going to get hit very hard by my artillery. The fighters also going to be hit hard. Just so many 88s on the field. Zero Crack has plenty on the right side there, and Haymaker has his own in the mid now as well. It's completely overwhelming. The opponents, I've also brought in my own fighters now, just to help us hold the sky. And since we do have so many 88s, I'm actually going to go for the strafing run onto these 25 pounders. First of all, the one on the right to kill that off, and then I'll be able to hit the other one to at least pin that one as well. Stops them harassing my forces as they continue to move forwards and take ground. So for example, these infantry have come up and managed to take the ground that was originally displaced with the artillery. On the right side, Mustang going to be shot down. Another 25 pounder destroyed by my 2-star ME-109. And just look how much ground Zero Crack made. Really, really good job by him throughout the game to make that much ground. Also just about managing to break through with my own forces as well at this point. I've got 3 more 88s on the left side that are currently being hit by artillery. There's just too many on the field now for them to deal with, and not really much they can do to contest at this point. So with 30 seconds left on the clock, it's pretty much job done. Wurfrahmen's managed to survive for the entire game, pretty much using up entire trucks of ammunition on their own, but very, very strong 25 HE power rockets with that massive spread of napalm. Great for taking out open top vehicles as well as enemy infantry. So just made strong use of those throughout the game. Really helped me to break the back of Jagdsource and his 3rd Canadian Infantry. And after 33 minutes and 26 seconds, that is victory. And there you have it. There's the team scores. I actually wasn't amazingly positive in this one. It was pretty close between myself and Jagdsource for a lot of the game, so really well played by him. Nicholas D on the right side, however, really getting crushed by Zero Crack and his 416th Luftwaffe. 4,974 kills to 490 losses for Zero Crack. That was really, really well played by him. And Haymaker in the mid, supporting both of us on either side. Nice play coming out of Haymaker as well, but Cherry Bomb losing quite a lot of forces as well. But yeah, overall, a really, really fun game I found, especially like Jagdsource put up a really nice fight on the left side, and me having to rely on so much on artillery throughout the game really showed how much pressure I was under, because generally I don't have to rely on artillery too much, and I don't like to. But in this case, using the Wurfrahmens especially, alongside like my off-map, it was really necessary to punch through the choke points and the like forest areas where they were pinning me down with those priests and so on. And that's pretty much it. You can see in the early game, not many kills at all, but coming into the late game with the Wurfrahmens, I really managed to displace a lot of their units. That's about it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.